Welcome back to 843 TV. I'm now joined by Bill Prokop, City Manager for the City of Beaufort. Bill, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So we just spoke with Nan and Stephen, a couple of City Council members, about some pretty aggressive goals set forward at this year's annual retreat. In your view, as City Manager, what's it going to take to achieve some of these goals?
Well, I think the most important first step is, as a city, we have a very unusual relationship with our council and the staff. We really work together. As you heard, many of our goals, there's a council member that's heading up some of the goals, and our staff is integrated, so it's not a we-they situation, which makes it easier.
Right.
Second, we have very specific things that we want to accomplish as a city, and they're laid out, whether it's economic development, affordable housing. What this really helps us from a staff point of view, because what we're able to do now is our budget's now being developed to meet these goals.
Okay.
Rather than have a budget and then we have what goals and not necessarily meeting.
Right.
So what we're really focusing the staff on basically two key elements. As it says here, laser rather than layer. We're looking at performance and we're looking at technology. Councilor Murray mentioned that we automated our business licensing. We're upgrading our police department in the way they analyze crime. We're using GIS more for things that we're doing. And we're just switching our entire organization to a performance management way. So whether it's the person mowing the lawn or the lieutenant in the police department or the battalion chief at the fire department, they're all going to have goals that relate to these goals.
Okay.
And basically, we have a report card at the end of the year. Like anybody else, we're not perfect.
Right.
But we can go out to the public and say, here's what we said we're going to do. As Councilor Sutton said, this is 2 years. How are we doing?
Right.
It doesn't mean that we don't have to shift along the way, but at least we're focused.
Right.
And to me, we now have a tool that's a working tool versus so many, I'll say, whether it's municipalities or business, develop a plan and put it on the shelf.
Sure.
This is a working document, and all of us, talking at staff, are knowing that we now have posters in every department. These are our 5 goals. What are you doing to these goals? We want all our employees to become ambassadors, and to be an ambassador, they've got to know what these goals are. So it's, to me, a helpful management tool, and that's how we plan to use it.
Absolutely. I mean, you can set out all the goals you have, but the more precision and the more metrics you have to measure yourself up against how you're helping to achieve those goals is incredibly helpful. And so let's talk about the number 1 goal on this in the strategic plan is economic growth. I mean, that's kind of a central focus here. We've talked about that quite a bit. We've already seen evidence of positive commercial growth here in our area. We've got a new car dealership under construction and a brand new Walmart on Ladies Island, which is inside the city limits. Let's talk about how these goals, the evidence of these new businesses being developed help support and help you shape, kind of the path towards achieving some of these goals, specifically economic growth.
But I think the important thing here of what we try to do, and again, whether it's Walmart or the car dealership or the new restaurant, we try to get to know the people and what their needs are, and how can the city help them.
Right.
Just yesterday, we had a luncheon with the 5 or 6 businesses that we annexed in Ladies Island. And it was just to say, okay, here's our management staff. If you have questions, how can we help you? So I think having to understand the business needs, but also you take, I'll say, small things, as we established the digital corridor over the last year. But if you went down to the digital corridor right now, you'll see the outside, there's flowers planted, the landscaping's done. We can't just say something's done and we're done with it, move on to the next thing. So as a city, we have to say we have infrastructure needs that will support that economic development, that will support affordable housing. You go to the Duke Street project that they were mentioning about infill. Whether it was Public Works or our fire department or our own staff or members of council, they were all down there helping change that. And the same thing, Beaufort Housing will be painting and improving the area. So it's a community involvement, it's a council involvement, it's a staff involvement of really working together. And if we can keep that going, And as Councilor Murray said too, developing the communications and working with our partners is a big thing that we're spending a lot of time on.
Sure.
I think we're seeing that with the companies that are coming in, and we're trying to be more business friendly.
Yeah, communication is key.
Correct.
And the more you do this, the better you get, and the more you are aware of these businesses' needs, I'm sure. And you talked about infrastructure here. I mean, we've got a pretty major infrastructure project going on right in front of City Hall.
Right.
And just the Boundary Street project, can you just give us a brief update how that's going?
A brief update is quite simple. It's a $33 million project that's on time and so far on budget. As of 2 weeks ago, in fact, there was a meeting about 2 minutes ago, which we don't know the summary of yet, but we're probably now at 51% completed. The most difficult part is right in front of us. But we've had less than $150,000 change orders, which is very unusual.
Yeah.
And we have enough reserves to cover all of the change orders plus more. There is some disruptions we know with traffic, and there's some surprises we found, and particularly the duck bank they're working on now on this side of the road. They find more things that no one knew was under there, no matter what drawing, whether it be pipes, wires, plumbs, and so far hopefully no bodies, but it's but basically it's on time, on budget, and we hope to have it done by the end of the year.
And that is something that not a lot of managers with $33 million projects can say. So congratulations on that one. Bill, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for watching 843 TV, where communities come to speak.